Good morning. It's Monday, October 6, 2014. I'm Steve Miller, and this is the Asia Brief. Opposition groups clashed with pro-democracy protesters in chaotic scenes in one of Hong Kong's busiest shopping districts Friday, October 3rd. Approximately 200 demonstrators faced off against a much larger group of anti-protesters in Mong Kok after they started to dismantle barricades in an apparent backlash against the demonstrators. Chief Executive CY Leung described the protesters' actions as close to anarchy. Several from the clashes were left bruised and bloodied following the encounter. Talks had been scheduled with Hong Kong officials before the altercations took place. Quote, "There is no other option but to call off talks. The government and police turned a blind eye to violent acts by the Triads targeting peaceful Occupy protesters," said the Hong Kong Federation of Students. Police arrested suspected members of the Triad criminal gangs over the violence at the pro-democracy protests. However, images on social media outlets like Twitter and Facebook allege city officials hired the Triad members to disrupt the protests, offering up to 1,000 Hong Kong dollars. One image also appears to indicate one of the brawlers was an out-of-uniform police officer. The government refutes any implications. Amnesty International is also citing first-hand reports of the police doing nothing to stop the sexual assault of women and has levied further criticism against the police. Leung once more attempted to disperse the assembled crowds, warning that all necessary action will be taken to ensure government employee access to the offices on Monday morning. It was a move that only served to bring about more support for the so-called umbrella revolution, both home and abroad. Saturday evening and into Sunday morning, additional altercations occurred between protesters and authorities. Reports indicate police used pepper spray and batons in those scuffles. The Hong Kong Journalists Association has also confirmed multiple attacks on members of the press covering the protests. Stephanie Chin, a Hong Kong journalist, translated the students' latest demands for the Hong Kong government. First, open the People's Square. Now, this is the area outside the Hong Kong government HQ, an area that belongs to the people according to legal documents. They are also asking the government to open up Tim May Road. Number two, they are asking for the resignations of CY Leung, Carrie Lam, Rimsky Yuan, and Tam Chi Yuan. 3. They're asking for the decision by the National People's Congress to be withdrawn. And finally, they're asking for civil nominations and to abolish the functional constituency. In response, the government says Carrie Lam has agreed to meet with protest leaders, provided workers can gain access to their buildings on Monday morning. It's something Occupy Central leaders have agreed to do, but student leaders still remain defiant, and at least two groups, Scholarism and the Hong Kong Federation of Students, remain outside government HQ. Quote, "We will stay here all night and wait for the police to attack," said 20-year-old protester Kin Chung, the mask covering his face. He continues, "It's going to be a long fight." In Japan, officials report they've recovered all but 16 after last week's deadly Mount Ontake volcanic eruption. Nearly 50 people have perished in the blast, making it the nation's deadliest in 88 years. Rescue operations have continuously been halted as toxic fumes coupled with alarming seismic readings indicate another eruption may occur. Efforts were further hampered by Typhoon Phamphone, which approached the region on Sunday, bringing with it wind gusts measuring up to 250 kilometers per hour. According to the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, the nation's Mayon Volcano continued to inflate, which means magma is still moving upward, indicating an imminent eruption. Director Renato Solidum estimated that the volume of magma moving up to the summit of the volcano to be about 30 million cubic meters, or equivalent to 3 million truckloads of rock. 3 high-ranking members of North Korea's leadership met with South Korean officials in Seoul over the weekend. Intense speculation surrounds the stability of the DPRK's leadership, following an absence of more than 3 weeks from the spotlight by the regime's leader Kim Jong-un. The 3 officials met with South Korean Unification Minister Ru Kil-jae shortly after arriving in Incheon. Later, the North Koreans met with Ru and Seoul's National Security Advisor Kim Kwon-jin and Prime Minister Chung Hong-won. Seoul officials also said they invited the delegates to meet with President Park Geun-hye at Cheongdaewa, or Blue House. The meeting, however, did not materialize due to time constraints. North and South Korea have agreed to resume high-level talks sometime in late October or early November and confirmed that Kim Jong-un is still in control of North Korea. Thank you very much for joining me today. Follow the Asia News Weekly Twitter and Facebook feeds for more news. The Asia Brief is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives 4.0 International License.